Hello, my name is Fances Rowan, and I would like to share my experience with you of what it means to be a kinship carer and how that's been for me, in the hope that it's useful for you just to find out about somebody else's experience. I became a carer for two children 1 year ago, and it has been the biggest challenge of my life. I think it was a struggle on two levels to start with. Firstly, just on the emotional side and the looking after children side, it was a massive leap and challenge for myself and my husband. We don't have any children of our own, and we have no experience of looking after children. So it has been a spectacular learning curve, just even learning about how to look after a child, never mind having the added extra of two children that obviously had come from a very difficult background and were in very, very emotional circumstances. The children were 7 and 9 when they came to live with us, and it became apparent that they had a lot of behavioural issues. The background that they'd been living in obviously had created a lot of problems for them. They emotionally were not acting their age at all. What happened to the elder child was that they had been forced into a caring role because they had been looking after their mum and the house. They were really acting more like teenage behaviour. The younger one had shut herself off and completely regressed emotionally, so she was acting more like a 4-year-old would expect to be kind of emotionally. They had a lot of behavioural problems. They didn't understand boundaries, structures, routine, didn't understand why you go to school, didn't understand that you go to school 5 days a week, didn't understand why you have to eat good food, didn't understand how to tidy up after yourself. Any kind of basic level of parenting just hadn't been there. We also didn't know the children, and they didn't know us, so it was a wee bit of a unique kinship care situation in that we kind of fell between a gap of being like foster carers but without any training or support, and only really trying to help the children understand that link to us through explaining how in the family we were related to them. As well as obviously the emotional and behavioural issues that we had with the children, there was a massive practical struggle for me and my husband to go from two people who lived a normal life, worked in jobs, ran a house, had their own hobbies. We had to then cope with double the amount of cleaning, shopping, cooking, picking up children from school. It was like a bombshell overnight because we took the children in an emergency situation. So between us saying to social workers that we might be able to offer them a home, to them actually being in our house, only had a period of literally a week. So we had to turn over getting a bedroom organised, and just the practical volume of stuff we had to get clothes and toys and things, everything from scratch. So there was a massive practical kind of learning curve there just in looking after them. The biggest triumphs are there's the small things that make you feel like you have won a marathon. When a child who wouldn't even go to school and didn't understand why they had to go to school now knows how to get up in the morning, how to put on a school uniform, how to have breakfast, how to brush your teeth, how to pack a school bag, and how to get out to school on time. That it is incredible. You take for granted. I suppose it's made me appreciate my parenting and the background that I came from, because you take for granted the life skills that your parents teach you from a very, very early age, of all those little things, how to brush your teeth, how to brush your hair, how to just tiny little things that you do around your house that is actually a massive life lesson. All the behavioural issues that the girls came with have gone. I am not a professional, as I say, I had no experience of looking after children. We have a really good family support network, and we have a really good understanding of what it means to love a child. Through love, support, boundaries, perseverance, open conversation, fun, letting those children have a normal, boring, bog standard, middle of the road life. We have changed their behaviour entirely. Some of the girls actually, the children were actually working with professionals for years, counsellors, people who couldn't get them to talk, couldn't turn around their behaviour. Not that I'm saying those things aren't important, but what they needed was what we were able to offer them, and you don't realise that at the time, because you think, can I do this? Do I have the experience? Do I have the knowledge? Will I do any damage to these children further, because I don't understand psychology and social work and sociology and all these fancy terms, but I know what it means to be part of a loving family, and that was the most important thing that they needed. The biggest lesson I've learned from becoming a kinship carer is that you know more than you think you know. Trust your gut instinct. You are going to make so many mistakes. You are going to have to persevere and keep with trial and error for the things that you do. As you learn how to work with these children, I quickly learned that I think what would be my natural parenting style didn't work with these kids, so I had to really try and teach myself a different way, because they didn't understand the boundaries between children and adults, and I found that quite challenging, because I kind of come from a world where if your mum tells you to do something, then you do it, and they just didn't understand why this adult was asking them to do something, that they should do it. So trying to help them understand, why do you need to go to sleep just now? Why is it really important that your body gets rest? Why is it really important that you get to school and you learn, and the bigger picture? And if they could make connections, it helped them to understand. But I found that really challenging, because it's not the way I would normally expect to speak to a child, but you have to realise that they hadn't been treated like children, so they needed a different level of understanding. My relationship with my husband has changed a lot, and that's a massive thing to undertake, and it's a massive risk that you take, because you don't know how you're going to work together looking after children until you actually do it. And thankfully we are proven to be a really, really good team, but that can be really challenging as well, and you've got to make sure that you remember to look after yourself and your own relationship as well, and not let this new responsibility take over your whole life and your whole emotions and your marriage and your house. The children have adapted spectacularly well. I am amazed at the resilience of children. I knew nothing about children. I have no milestones or markers, but I cannot believe that they are the same children that came to stay with us. they are happy, they are behaving like normal children, they are doing really well at school, they are just, I'm so proud of them and what they've achieved, and I'm so proud of my part in that. And they also now understand what a normal life looks like, which is something that they didn't know what that was like before. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit now about the support that we have received as kinship carers. Again, we're in a kind of different situation, that the local authority that the children are looked after children in is a different one to the one we live in. There's quite a large distance between them. So although we have had in-distance support, if you like, from that local authority, the main kind of access to services and things is in a different place. We found it quite challenging to actually access support. First point of call was obviously the finances, because very expensive to look after children, and we had obviously been informed that as kinship carers we were entitled to kinship support. The public sector obviously can be quite challenging to negotiate the paperwork, the red tape that needs done. You have to be prepared to have your part in that and to chase and persevere. It took me 5 months to get us the financial support that we were entitled to. I think again, because everything has happened so quickly for us, the paperwork took a long time to fall into place afterwards. We were backdated, obviously, support that we were entitled to, but I have to say, if we hadn't been in a financial position with our own personal savings, we wouldn't have been able to financially look after the children. Luckily we were, but obviously it wasn't ideal. We now receive a kinship allowance for both children, and that is obviously helping us to pay for their food. They never stop eating, and to allow them access to fun social events, clothes, all the things that you need, and we haven't had to change our working situation to be able to support them, which is great. We also received local support in our area of access to free sports and issues in the local authority too, so that's been really useful. We've managed to get the kids free swimming, access to the libraries, and they'll get able to get free swimming lessons, etc. And as carers as well, we also have access to our gyms and our local community, and everything for free, which is fabulous. We don't know any other kinship families. I have never ever met another kinship carer. I tried to reach out to social media for that, just to help, to join some Facebook groups and things, but I think for me the kind of strangest part was that a lot of the time kinship carers are grandparents or aunties and uncles, and we didn't really relate to that. I actually had tried to join some kinship charities and found it quite off-putting, because even the language that was used throughout their support actually said grandparents, and I just thought, this isn't me. And also, I guess, us trying to establish an emotional connection with those children from the get-go was really challenging, whereas kinship carers can very often have that already, because they know the children well and they love the children, and they have a prior relationship with them that we didn't have. I would love to connect with anybody that is obviously interested in sharing their experiences and letting people know that no matter how unique your situation, you're not alone in the way that you might be feeling. My words of support or advice to new kinship carers. I guess what I'd said earlier on, just trust your own gut instinct that you have the ability to do something, and also make sure that you are able to have time for yourself. And the extra part I think about kinship care is that you need to remember how to keep yourself from getting involved in that huge family dynamic, because as a kinship carer you are taking over your whole family. Obviously foster carer is between you and a local authority and a child, whereas this extra dynamic of taking on your family's politics, the emotions, everything that happens with that, you have to be prepared to try and get an objective hat on there. I think that's been helped by my husband, because he's not, obviously it's my biological family, and he has more objectivity, which can help me sometimes to not get involved in that and keep reminding yourself of the current sort of situation. What do I wish people knew about kinship care? What it was. People ask, trying to explain your situation and you trying to say you're a kinship carer means nothing. You'll very often say you're a foster carer just to make people understand. It opened my eyes to a whole new world of people who are kinship carers, and also to really appreciate people that had fought for a long, long time for the rights of kinship carers, and we are fulfilling a place in society that really supports children, families and local authorities, and I really appreciate that people have fought for the recognition of that. I hopefully will continue that journey on for people as well, and I am very interested in sharing experiences with other kinship carers. Thank you.